Securities and Exchange Commission approves 11 mergers, acquisitions worth 320 billion naira in 2024. Tinubu's mining reforms yield six-fold increase in revenue, $800 million foreign investment, says Alake. Oil prices rise on Trump's EU tariff delay and lower U.S. rig counts. Plus, Asia-Pacific market trade mix as investors assess Trump's EU tariffs deadline extension. The program is Business Express, reaching you from Abuja, Nigeria's capital. I am Musa Abubakar, your guide. Let's bring you up to speed with business development. The Securities and Exchange Commission, SEC, has listed companies on the Nigerian Exchange Limited. NGX declared 1.1 trillion naira in dividends to shareholders in 2024. The Director General of SEC, Dr. Motimi Agama, disclosed this in a statement where he said that 1 trillion naira had already been paid to shareholders out of the 1.1 trillion naira declared. According to him, this reflects improved market confidence and investor returns. He said that the Commission between January and December 2024 had approved a total of 3.68 trillion naira in new issues. Speaking on mergers and acquisitions, Agama said the Commission in 2024 approved 11 transactions with an aggregate value of 320.36 billion naira. The National Pension Commission has issued a new directive barring all licensed pension fund operators, including pension fund administrators and pension fund custodians, from transacting with any vendors or service providers that fail to remit pension contributions for their employees. According to PENCOM, operators must now require a valid pension clearance certificate from all vendors and service providers as a condition for entering into or renewing service level or technical agreements. The move is part of the Commission's intensified efforts to enforce compliance with Section 2 of the Pension Reform Act 2014, which mandates that all employers in the public and private sectors must participate in the contributory pension scheme and remit employee contributions within 7 working days after salary payment. Now, the naira appreciates massively against the dollar on week-on-week basis. Now, how much is the naira exchanging for other currencies? Let's see. Now, Nigeria begins daily airlift of made in Nigeria products to the rest of Africa. Minister of Trade and Investment, Dr. Jumoke Oduwole, made the revelation at the inaugural flight of the East and Southern Africa Air Cargo Corridor for exports. Benny Adams reports that this is in fulfillment of government's commitment to increasing trade volumes and value, as well as in addition to connecting Nigerian MSMEs with the world. On the road to Nigeria, fully taking advantage of the more than $3.4 trillion market, talking about the African continental market, Nigeria has been recognized as a trade champion in Africa. This is in addition to growing trade volumes as well as value, using the land, the seaports, as well as the airports. What does this mean for the Nigerian economy at this time?
AfCFTA is live. Nigeria's year-on-year export of non-oil goods has increased by 24% year-on-year. To the rest of Africa, it's now one of our biggest markets, and we're going to continue to move in that trajectory. Mr. President is committed to this agenda, and will continue to make sure that we deliver for Nigerian businesses.
A share barter cooperative in Niger can now export within days. A digital health platform in Lagos can now scale regionally. By cutting delivery time and costs, this corridor lifts the burden that have long held MSMEs back from trading across the continent.
Beyond aviation, I call upon shipping companies and the operators in the maritime and land domain to key into this so that we can give real meaning to African trade.
The tariffs have been so reduced with the partnership with Ugandan Airlines, so we can ship our products in a more cost-effective manner that the customers outside of Nigeria can get it.
A little bit in Canada, a little bit in UK. And then this great opportunity now came around, so we headed to Kenya, Nairobi.
As we embark on this transformative journey, it is critical that we adopt a comprehensive approach to monitor the impact of this initiative through robust data analytics and rigorous policy assessments. This will ensure that our strategies align with the international regulatory standards and foster sustainable growth within our industry.
Now with the latest addition of air transport, we're talking about the East and the Southern Africa corridor using Air Uganda at this time. It now means the runway is clear, as well as the airspace ready for made in Nigeria products to be taken around Africa and beyond. Speaking on the transformative export initiative under the African Continental Free Trade Area framework is the President Youth in International Trade, Chinedu Amadi. You're welcome to Business Express.
Thank you.
Okay, beautiful. You've seen that report, and what does it actually tell you about Nigeria's AfCFTA positioning, and how can actually MSMEs take advantage of this particular initiative?
Okay, for the initiative, the air cargo service that has been opened up heading towards South Africa and East of Africa, it's a very good initiative. We all understand that Nigeria has been the champion of the AfTA project, with the guided trade initiative that was launched about 2 years ago. They have created the pathway and direction for African trade. Why I commend the federal government and in particular for creating this opportunity, I also would recommend that we look at the low-hanging fruits, which is looking at moving goods through the seaways, So we look at our neighboring countries.
Can we start one thing at a time?
Sure.
You talk about seaways. Well, just go on.
Yes,
go on.
yes. So why I say that is that the air cargo and when you're moving goods, you look at where you have your dominant market. And so when we look at countries like Cameroon, neighboring countries and the rest, you would see that we have high volume of trade across there. And if a cargo vessel is placed in the Oron waterway and the rest heading to Cameroon, that is going to hugely impact trade for Nigeria, And so I think the government should look at opening up the seaways, because not because of the cleansing, but also because the cost of transporting goods via water is very much cheaper than the air. So, so when you look at that, you see that there are low-hanging fruit that we can start harnessing, through the AFTA initiative, and the AFTA, of course.
Because I think if you are talking about cost, I think they are operating at a subsidized cost.
Yes. Yes. However, we look at the subsidy that is being placed. We cannot compare vis-a-vis the cost of transporting by waterway. And what we're saying is that yes,
but when you talk about by water, what about the time it takes to actually get to its destination? These are two different things, By water, it may be cheaper, but it's not faster. By air is faster. It may be a little bit expensive.
Well, the corridor I was even looking at, traveling by water is approximately about 2 hours. So that wouldn't take that. But we're looking at the volume of trade that you're going to push through that corridor.
Okay.
But what we're saying generally is that the government has taken the right step, and there are other opportunities that they can key into and also get trade in those corridors. You're
an entrepreneur. Are you also well positioned to take advantage of this particular development?
Yes, we are well positioned. I held a program in Douala December of last year. We met with the ambassador of Nigeria and the people and government of Cameroon to discuss inter-African trade between the two countries. And some of the things we shared is what has increased drive for trade in that corridor. And that communication and some of our works that we've been doing, we've been able to document it in a magazine where what we call a one-stop shop for traders, investors, MSMEs to go to and look at opportunities, look at challenges, look at how to overcome it, look at policies that governments are making to promote and enhance trade.
Now, promote and enhance trade. How effective have Nigeria's current trade promotion strategies been in increasing the visibility of local products like the made in Nigeria products that we are talking about in regional and global markets?
Yes, I would say currently there's been increased awareness. Coming from the COVID-19 challenge, a lot of Nigerians, a lot of young people, a lot of entrepreneurs kind of got into trade, and now the quest to move goods out of Nigeria and some foreign exchange has increased. And also government has supported this, so we've just talked about AFTA, we've talked about the air cargo, I've talked about the shipping ways for that. And also there are so many other opportunities as NAPC is doing, NIPC is doing, and of course the Federal Ministry of Trade and Industry is doing to help made in Nigerian products. And you go to even locally in our superstores, you begin to see improved packaging and branding of products which meet international standard. And so this is a step in the right direction from what is currently happening in Nigeria. So I think
talking about international standard, let's take a step backward. Help us assess the acceptability of the made in Nigerian products that we are seeing today, products and services, and possibly technology. How have Nigerians been able to actually buy into all these made in Nigerian products, get to patronize it and use it? Just help us with an assessment.
Okay, so I'll say Nigeria is coming in gradually on getting our products out. Of course, we have a very huge challenge coming from China, where finished goods is really tackling the capacity of entrepreneurs in terms of product. But we are learning very fast, and so a lot of people are picking up, looking at this product and reproducing and getting stuff out of Nigeria, especially from the agri sector. Processed agri-foods are really heading out of the country, and that is a very positive direction for Nigeria, when we look at made in Nigerian products.
Okay, so far you've been in the trade promotion space. What have you been able to do to actually change the fortunes of the MSMEs?
First, we'll say started from our products that we have created our own products to showcase, talk about the challenges which we have shared with most young entrepreneurs. We've done trade promotions across the geopolitical zones in Nigeria, starting from about 2021 up to date, which we still do. We've gone into Africa. We're heading to Liberia in November to look at trade promotion. We've been to the US promoting made in Nigerian goods, in Houston. We've done international trade shows there. But also, we've been able to help young entrepreneurs to talk about the challenges that they face in terms of branding, in terms of packaging, in terms of sustainability of supply, especially the source of their materials, but in terms of keeping standards, So we've done that. We engage in technical workshops to educate and create awareness for entrepreneurs. And those that have participated in our programs have learned and keyed in and now currently exporting products out of Nigeria. So I think our impact continues. And what we have done currently was, by giving out a trade magazine that really looks at, policy of government, looks at opportunities, looks at challenges. Actually, I tell investors, entrepreneurs that this is the one-stop shop you need to go and look at government policies, look at formulations, look at opportunities, and see how to key into those opportunities and grow your products.
Okay, thank you very much, Chinedu Margie. Thank you for sharing your thought with us.
Thank you.
Now, while the central bank governor, Olayemi Kadoso, is urging the fiscal authorities to provide inputs for farmers to achieve further price stability, there's growing concern over the future of Nigeria's rice industry, but also a renewed call for action and hope. The Competitive Africa Rice Forum Nigeria is urging the government to step in and protect the progress made over the past 2 decades in building a strong homegrown rice sector. Nigeria's rice value chain has come a long way from heavy import dependence to a thriving local industry with over 13 million metric tons of milling capacity installed nationwide. It's a sector that supports over 5 million livelihoods from farms to markets, but recent policy decisions and rising smuggling are said to be putting that progress at risk.
Should try to intervene in order to reverse this trajectory and safeguard the rice industry, not just for economic reasons, but for national resilience and food security in our nation. I believe that, government should be able to protect this particular product and ensure that 5 million people that we've calculated are dependent on this throne. I'm calling that they should strengthen the Nigerian Customs Service operations to seal off the key smuggling corridors. The government should create a national rice buffer, stock, and offtake mechanism to stabilize the market prices during the harvest cycles.
Now, the Nigerian Customs Service Federal Operations Unit Zone D has intercepted smuggle items with a duty paid a value worth over 100 million naira. Comptroller of the zone, Abubakar Lawal Umar, while briefing journalists on the recent IEM smuggling operations of the unit, reaffirmed the unwavering commitment of the organization towards suppressing smuggling activities in the zone.
And in terms of patrol. When I came, we have a lot of information about people moving all this kind of stuff, even in small quantities. So we started targeting them, and then we were able to get all these ones. We have a lot of people bringing in things from other places to this zone. So, but we are trying to curtail that as much as we can.
And now to commodities market. Let's now take a trip to the commodities market. 74.8 billion naira shares traded on Nigerian bourse in 5 days, up by 17%. Olayinka Ojo has a summary of that report.
The NGX All-Share Index and market capitalization depreciated by 0.62% to close the week at 109,028.62 basis points and 68.752 trillion naira. A total turnover of 3.932 billion shares worth 74.813 billion naira in 105,220 deals were traded last week by investors on the floor of the exchange. The financial services led the activity chart with 2.405 billion shares valued at 32.271 billion naira in 44,570 deals, contributing 61.16% and 43.14% to the total equity turnover in volume and value. The services industry followed with 442.995 million shares worth 4.201 billion naira in 7,523 deals, while the third place was the consumer goods industry with a turnover of 283.157 million shares valued at 12.678 billion naira in 15,675 deals. Trading in the top three equities, namely Royal Exchange PLC, Fidelity Bank PLC, and Tantalizer PLC, accounted for 1.610 billion shares worth 8.897 billion naira in 8,079 deals, contributing 40.95% and 11.89% to the total equity turnover in volume and value. A total of 109,953 units of exchange-traded products valued at 52.587 million naira were traded in 164 deals. For bonds, a total of 21,285 units valued at 21.418 million naira were traded in 34 deals. On summary of price changes, 52 equities appreciated in price during the week, 41 equities depreciated in price, while 55 equities remained unchanged. Olayinka Ojo for Business Express.
And our next up is global stock market. Maria is waiting with the numbers. Maria, is over to you.
Markets across the globe are in positive territory this afternoon. We have European shares which were firmly in green territory. Looking at the figures now, we have DAX of Germany going up 1.67%. We have FTSE of the UK at 0.24% lower and France's CAC at 1.19% higher. Asia markets traded mixed on Monday. Also, South African stocks surged 2% to lead gains in the region. Japan's Nikkei 225 jumped 1.00% at 37,531 basis points. We have Shanghai Composite of mainland China going down 0.05% or 3,346 points. We have the Hang Seng Index of Hong Kong at 1.35% lower or 23,282 basis points. In the U.S., stock futures ended last week in red territory after President Trump raised trade fears again. Apple got a warning and he had recommendations for steeper duties on the European Union. The Dow added 1.08%. We have S&P following at 1.25%. Nasdaq Composite also was up 1.44%. Africa markets mostly got a boost this afternoon. South Africa JSE Top 40 was higher by 0.56%. We have Tunisia Tun Index also at 0.20%. Namibia All-Share Index follows at 0.15%, while Ghana was in red at 0.02%. That's Global Market for Monday. I am Maria Aduzakari. It's back to Musa.
Thank you, Maria. Well, that's it. Business Express returns tomorrow at 9:30 a.m. Thanks for your company.